we come round to vaccines.
Vaccines. First of all, 5G towers in Belfast, Liverpool, Birmingham in the last week have been burned, and overnight, because people are responding. There's all of this stuff going on in the Facebook groups. What do you think of that? And I know towards the end of this, you're going to tell us about next steps for us, but what do you think about that action?
It's not for me to tell anyone what to do, because that's their right to choose. But you look at the situation, and if 5G continues and reaches where they want to take it, human life as we'd known it is over. I've been saying this for so long. Oh, you're mad. That David Icke's mad. Oh, yeah, okay. You're not laughing now, are you? So people have to make a decision. You know, I am personally absolutely anti-violence against people, and I don't see violence against people taking us absolutely anywhere. It's just an you know, if you use violence against people in the name of doing something you believe to be right, then you're just a mirror of what you are seeking to fight. You know, I have this phrase: what you fight, you become. What you hate, you become. But people will have to make their own decisions. All I will say, and repeat again, if this 5G continues and this rollout continues, that's it, over. What people decide to do about that is up to them. But it's very clear that what's happened is people have been put under house arrest on this false premise. So there's no gathering, there's no ability to protest, and so they have free rein to rapidly deploy and expand 5G, while so many people have had their employment destroyed, have had their businesses destroyed, because they are deemed by the government non-essential, whereas rapidly deploying 5G towers with all their destructive and psychological potential is deemed to be essential work. Now you put that little lot together and you can see that there is a massive conspiracy going on here to roll out 5G without protest. And that means it ain't good for humanity. And Elon Musk, who's this Silicon Valley celebrity, oh look, it's Elon Musk, is, like all of these people involved in this, a super psychopath. He should be in jail for the rest of his human life, and I hope they would put him in the same cell as Bill Gates, because they deserve each other. He is putting up more and more satellites, beaming this desperately destructive 5G at the Earth. Because you see, when you're building a technological sub-reality to which every human being is connected via AI connections to the brain, then you have to create a situation where there is a, if you like, Wi-Fi field in every inch of the planet. The only way you're going to do that is from space, every inch of the planet. And that's what they're doing. And Elon Musk knows that. And that's why he's a psychopath. Talking of which, we may turn to
vaccines.
Bill Gates.
And then I want to talk about the psychology of what all this is doing to us.
Exactly. So where this is leading is a vaccine. And in that vaccine will be lots of genetic material, stuff that will trigger poison in the cells, which will trigger exosomes, which will, the virus. but also in that vaccine will be nanotechnology microchips. I mentioned a few minutes ago that Elon Musk had got permission for 1 million ground antennae to interact with his satellites. These nano microchips, which are being put into us in many ways, but let's keep with the vaccines, are well beyond the ability of human sight to see. That's why they're nano. And they are known as smart dust, of course, smart on everything. They're known as nanobots. They're known as neurobots, lots of different names they give them. Smart dust will do. And the idea is to put them in the body, and they will act within humans like the ground antenna act with the satellites of Musk. They connect humans to this grid, this technological sub-reality, this AI-controlled sub-reality. So we basically become nothing more than computer terminals. That's the idea. And I'll tell you a quick story which will lead me round to nano microchips in vaccines. In the late 1990s, I was asked to go and see a CIA scientist in California because he wanted to get out things that were going on, but he couldn't, and why he couldn't became very obvious. So I went to see him at his house. He's in Southern California, and his family's there, and his children are there, and they gave me some food, and we had a long chat that evening. And he wanted to tell me things that were happening because he couldn't. He said he joined the CIA, he was a scientist, because he thought he was serving his country. And he said when he got in, he realized that this conspiracy I've been exposing for 30 years was actually happening. That's why he contacted me. And he said, I'm not doing it. No, I'm not doing that. I'm not playing a part in that. And he walked out. He said, next thing he knew, he left home after he walked out. And he said, I got missing time. He said, I don't know what happened after that. The next thing I know after leaving home is I woke up on this medical type bench in this room. He was on his own. And he's lying there and he gets his faculties back and he realizes something stuck to his chest. So he opens his shirt, and he was opening his shirt and showing me as he was telling me this story. I seriously wasn't expecting it, I can tell you. And what happens, as he opened his shirt, on his chest was like a see-through plastic shampoo sachet. And inside was this orangey liquid, orangey golden type liquid. And he said, because I'd asked him the question before he did this, why do you do what you do? I knew what the answer was going to be, but I wanted him to tell me in his own words. Why do you still work for him then? He said, because of this. In the CIA, they call these patches. Someone's been patched. And what they did in that missing time is they manipulate their bodies. He said, there were at least 1,000 other scientists who were patched at the time. We're talking late 90s, about 97, something like that. And he said, I am coming around to microchips and vaccines. And he said, in that missing time, what they do is they manipulate your body to need the drug in the patch to survive. How they do it, I don't know, but they do it. And he said, this patch has to be replaced every 72 hours. And if you are not repatched, then you start to die a very unpleasant death. And he said, I called their bluff on one occasion to see if they were just scamming me, and they weren't messing. That's what happened. So if he doesn't do and use his expertise to support the CIA in this whole global cult scam and conspiracy, then he's not repatched. And he actually said to me, I'm holding back knowledge that I have that they want, and I'm letting them know I am, because I know from other people it's happened to, that once they think they've taken everything they can get from you, they just don't repatch you. Because then you can't go and tell anybody what the hell's been going on. So he took a lot of guts to talk to me. Anyway, this is what he also told me. Now remember, this is 1997-ish. No one's talking about nanotechnology, really. Later it was, you know, now it's in everything, it's in food. But they weren't talking about it then in the, you know, general arena. He said, what they're doing is they are injecting people with tiny, tiny microchips that you can't see in vaccination programs. And he told me what these chips were for. And this is like late 90s. So these vaccines that are promoted by Bill Gates and funded by Bill Gates like no one else on earth, not least through an organization called Gavi, Bill Gates and Gavi want to vaccinate everyone. And they want something else. This Gavi organization of Bill Gates has been developing. They want, and this is the name they give, a quantum tattoo on everyone who's vaccinated, so they can digitally tell if you've been vaccinated or not. Now, where this is going is this COVID-19 scam. Eventually, the figures will start to drop and they'll ease the lockdown at some point. But what they're planning is other waves. And because the lockdown precedent has been set, there won't be any run-up to lockdown with any other wave. There will be immediate lockdown. This is what it's all about. And they're getting people psychologically subservient to that. And then they will say that if you have the vaccine, and currently there are 7 vaccines said to be in the works for COVID-19, every single one is funded by Bill Gates. This is the same Bill Gates who was involved with his Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation in Event 201, which was a simulation of a coronavirus pandemic and how the authorities would react, exactly as they have, 6 weeks before the thing came to public attention in China. Also running that Event 201 simulation of a coronavirus pandemic was the World Economic Forum, which Gates is massively involved in. This is the 1%. And an organization called the Johns Hopkins University Medical Operation in America. Also there was Johnson & Johnson, who's one of that's now developing the vaccine for COVID-19. The Johns Hopkins organization that took part in that simulation, which turned out to be exactly as it's turned out, also ran a simulation in 2018 along the same lines. Who is collating the global figures quoted in the media of COVID-19 cases and deaths? The Johns Hopkins operation that was involved in these simulations. The idea is that they'll say, if you want to come out of lockdown and you don't want to keep going into lockdown, then you have got to have the vaccine that we say you have to have, so that you are not a threat to the rest of the community.
And that gives you rights.
Yeah.
That's this passport that Bill Gates was talking about.
Yes. Bill Gates is one of the most sinister people on planet Earth, and by God, think of the competition. And so you have a situation where this is where the game is going, that you have this vaccine full of shite, to control you and to undermine your health so that we can have more pandemics, or you can't mix with the rest of the community, you can't fly, etc. Now, this is the real reason why Gates and Gavi, this vaccine alliance, has developed this quantum tattoo so that they can tell who's had the vaccine and who hasn't, and there will be technology that you pass through which will pick it up to see if you when you're say trying to get on a plane, oh no, you can't, you've not been vaccinated.
Is it like a chip inside of you?
Well, yeah, in simple terms, that's basically what it will be. You know, exactly what technology they come up with, we'll see. But the principle is exactly that. And when you pass through technology now at specific points, your temperature is going to be taken. We now have, because what we've got to understand is that the people that run Silicon Valley are lovely people. They care deeply about humanity. So first of all, what they've been doing, they've just released it, people like Google, is they're releasing mobile phone tracking data to governments so governments can see if there's any gathering of people during the lockdown.
Yeah, they found a bunch of kids who went to a spring break party on the beach, 70 of them, and they tracked them to 40 different states in America. I thought that was illegal to give their data up, but they're doing it.
Oh, once you have the lockdown and you suspend democracy, which is what's happened, and you enter a tyranny that can only be described as fascistic, there are no legalities for humans anymore, because the government does what it likes. And it's not the politicians, they're just clueless. It's the dark suits behind the government that drive it. So that's only one step from the microchip, which is where they want to go, whereby they will track you wherever you go in real time, and they will say ongoing that only this amount can ever gather together, because they don't want mass protests. And they'll know if you do, because they'll be tracking you. Now let's go to China. I've been saying in the books and talks for decades that if you want to see what they plan for the West tomorrow, look at China today. So in China, you have a situation. This is where what we've just been talking about is planned to go in the West, whereby there are millions of face recognition cameras. The Metropolitan Police have just introduced face recognition cameras. See, in China, you've got an open tyranny, and so this is what's happening. In the West, it's, oh no, it's not a tyranny, we're just doing it because it's good, right? They have to do it slower. But now they've suspended democracy, they can do it faster, so they're rolling out this 5G, for instance. And so in China, you've got millions of face recognition cameras which are constantly tracking the population in real time. You are a number, brackets see George Orwell, see Aldous Huxley. And I've seen documentaries where they've sent someone out on the streets of China to see how long it would take to find him. Minutes, found you. And what happens is that these face recognition cameras everywhere are, through AI, they're logging your behavior. And what you do is you get social credits. You're being a good boy and girl if you behave the way the government wants. If you don't, those credits are taken away. And when you reach a certain level of credits taken away, then you start to hit consequences. Like there are millions and millions of people in China who, through not behaving as the government wants, are now banned from flying or banned from even going on a train. And this is what is planned. It's total and utter control. And this COVID-19 scam hoax has been designed to create in very fast time the very global centralization of power that that we have, or I have been highlighting for 30 years, was coming.